I know there's some new people here today, so I want to introduce us. I'm Chris Hogue. I'm the director of Drug Free Communities and co-chair of Vope.
Angela Battle, co-chair of Vope.
Kyle Tebow, Park and Recs director.
Alyssa Graham, probation officer.
Deborah Keith, nurse manager for the Belchertown School.
Jay Kroll, school resource officer, police department, Belchertown.
Okay.
And Lou Lorraine, BCTV.
Okay. And media sector representative.
And media sector representative.
Lean Mata, secretary of Vope.
All right. And up on the TV screen, Kathy, do you want to?
Kathy Coutinho, DART, Northampton Health Department of Health and Human Services. Sorry.
That's okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Lauren. You just want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, Lauren Kelly, she, her, Hampshire Hope coordinator.
Great. And Sue, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Susan Daly. I'm from the Recovery Center of Hope. I'm the volunteer and outreach coordinator.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Kim?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kim Lee, and I am with Mira Vista Behavioral Health.
Hi, Kim. Welcome. Welcome. And I'm going to have Kim share a little bit about Mira Vista today. Also, really great program. We've been collaborating quite a bit, so I'm really excited that Kim is on board with us. So I just was starting out today with April. April 2nd, we started Smart Recovery in Belchertown from 6 to 7. It is going to go every Wednesday from 6 to 7 at the American Legion post across from the rec department. The first time we had it, we did have one person show up. And then last week, we had one person do it virtually. So we're hoping as the word gets out, it picks up a little bit more. Definitely, I think Jolie Feder is the person that is the young people, the coordinator for the young people in recovery in Western Massachusetts. And I know she's in touch with Cornerstone too, over in Ware, to have them maybe get involved with it. So that is a program that is involved in Belchertown. It's open to any community at all. So anybody outside Belchertown is certainly welcome. April 3rd, the Helping Hands student group did attend the 84 movement in Boston, and I'm going to have Aline just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so 7 of our Helping Hands students, myself and Chris, went into Boston, and we attended the State House where they were having it's called Enough Day, Ending Nicotine Use for the Future. And there were about 37 different chapters there with 281 people. And there were over 80 legislative visits scheduled where students got to meet with their representatives. So our students got to meet with Aaron Saunders and Jake Oliveira and talk to him about what we're doing here in town as far as nicotine-free generation and, basically voicing their concerns about their health and what's to come in the future. So the next thing was they got personalized tours of the chambers, of the Senate chambers and the House of Representative chambers. So it was a really good experience for everybody.
Yeah, they got the royal treatment because of Jake and Aaron. And Jake actually came down and got our students and took them out of the ceremony to show them upstairs. And we got to go up on the balcony on the State House and overlook the common and everything. So it's such a great opportunity for our youth, and even in connecting with legislation too and government and seeing how it works. Mm-hmm. And also having Aaron and Jake supporting our program. And on another note on that one, they are both our opening ceremony speakers for the Umbrella Wellness this year. Yeah, so that's great. Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah. April 4th, we did go and trained the Eastern Hampshire District Court probation officers in mental health And we did kind of a watered down version of mental health first aid because it was just like a 2-hour course condensed. So I've done curriculum development in universities before, so I just condensed it down and gave them the most important parts about it, as far as like an action plan of helping somebody that needs help that's in a crisis or non-crisis situation. Well, we went over some Narcan training type things, but unofficially. So it was a really good program. Alyssa, do you want to share anything about that?
It was a great afternoon. There's some information. I think, we probably could have been there longer or had more. We had a great turnout from a couple of different departments. District Court, a couple of the juvenile courts were there. So it was a good turnout. And I know everyone, I think, was signing up for the next event in May too.
Awesome.
I think it'll be a good turnout.
Yeah. Great. And so we had 16 total from juvenile court as well. We did have an attorney there, I believe.
Yes, there was an attorney that came.
Which was really cool, because for we usually deal with like teachers and other types of organizations, and this year one of the points that we made is to connect with Alyssa, and that we met at National Night Out last year, so that was an awesome opportunity. And then in May, on May 14th, we have Reverend Sarah Maria Allenby coming from Falmouth, Massachusetts. She's a spiritual advisor down there for a couple recovery programs. She has a ton of different hats. She's a reverend at a church. She's also a chaplain at the Falmouth Hospital, but she has her own program too, which is called Spirituality and Practice, and it's all spirituality-based recovery and just spirituality generally speaking. And so she'll be coming May 14th to the probation office and doing a mindfulness meditation program over there with them. And then that evening, I think it was 6 to 7, Sue, at the Recovery Center of Hope, she'll be going down there and doing a program in the Recovery Center. And anybody is welcome to be there. It's not, when I say recovery, I don't just mean substance use recovery. I mean, like any type of recovery. I mean, there's so many types, mental health conditions, food disorders, somebody could be addicted to socks, who knows, anything like that. So anybody is welcome to that. We do have something coming up April 26th. We have Drug Takeback Day. I'll be up there from 10 to 2. We are doing Vape Takeback Day this year. We do know that there's specific guidelines that we have to follow. Because it's our first year that we're doing this, I'm going to do is I'm going to have a separate box just for the vapes. We already know how to take them apart and recycle all different parts of it. And so, like the sponge thing that is like in the vape that collects the juices and stuff is a household hazardous waste that we can get rid of it. And then there's the plastic parts that can be washed off and recycled. And then you got the lithium battery that can be recycled as well. So I'm working with DPW around this, and we'll be giving those things to Linda LeDuc to dispose of the lithium batteries. If the lithium batteries are removed from the devices at Drug Takeback Day, then we can throw them in a box and shove them with the medications and get burned. But we're not planning on doing that. We're just planning on taking the vapes and just doing it ourselves this time.
So just want to clarify something on that. We were talking in the police station issue. There's some concerns. So I said I would bring it up today.
Yes.
So it gets out to the public. Normally, we do not take vapes.
Right.
So, like, if people bring stuff into the police station to the drug take-back thing, we cannot accept vapes.
Right.
And we cannot accept any liquids. Mm-hmm. This is just because it's a special event and you guys are taking those apart.
Right. Yep, it's just for today, that day. And we just want to do it for a first time just to see how it goes and going forward. I mean, this is our initiative. It's not, it's connected obviously to Drug Takeback Day because it's the same day, but we're not connecting it to the sheriff's take back part, if that makes sense. And I emailed Neil about that too.
We want to make sure the public knows it. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it now, so anybody who watches our video.
Right. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And yeah, because I wanted to make it specific to that day.
Yeah, I think it's great that we're taking it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put something on Facebook too.
I have.
About it not being the police department Like they're not taking them.
Yeah, I mean, if the flyers are, we could do that. Just like put a little note in the event,
Yeah.
under the discussion piece, and just put, please note, under the event
Do not
page.
bring your vapes
We'll
to
do that.
the police department.
All right, so keep a note of that. All right. So we'll do that then. Also, April 26th is Earth Day. I think the Cultural Council maybe is doing Earth Day that day. There's somebody in Belchertown is doing Earth Day that day, and actually I'm going to find out who the person is, because Helping Hands is going to be doing it as well. We ordered like bright vests for them and like the picker things, the big picker things. We have, rubber glove. We have all safety precautions for them. We are going to separate out any alcohol containers that they find, like nips, and separate out vapes. Those two things. And so we're going to see if we can work with the people that are doing it in town to do the same thing, but it's kind of last minute. So maybe next year, but we're going to at least try to do that, with the Helping Hands kids, have them separate all that stuff out.
You a target area this year?
I think we're gonna meet at the Common at 10, but with them we'll probably head down Jackson. I know Georgetown and Hamilton have a lot. Do you have any suggestions?
Nope, that's great, I think.
That's a good area. Yeah.
Yeah.
We figured as much.
Yeah. And so, we want to be diligent about what we collect too and separate out. There's a purpose for it. So that's happening on the 26th. So we're pretty busy.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to cover both.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Awesome. And then, and vapes in schools, like Jay, if you ever come across any of those types of things, just put them aside and bring them to us and we'll get rid of them.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
We can talk later about this, but yeah, we'll talk later. About it, because it's another initiative and I can't start anything else right now. May 5th, our Drug-Free Communities grant is due. I'm working pretty hard on that right now. I'm getting very close to being done. Dr. Fortin and I have been working heavily on it. The grant is due May 5th, and then we will not find out probably until early September, mid-September this year, because of how late it is. We are going in front of the Opioid Settlement Fund Committee April 28th or 28th, April 28th. And the superintendent and assistant superintendent will be there presenting their application. Vote did sign off on that for support too, as well as some other people. But that's just in case we have a gap year next year. So at least we are going to be covered for another year, hopefully, no matter what. And then if we don't get the grant this year, if we have a gap year. So we're in good shape as far as that's concerned.
Chris,
Yes.
are you at the end of your 10-year?
No. 5.
You're at the end of your 5. I wasn't sure. I just wanted.
Yeah. And actually,
You're at the end of your 5, so you're applying for your next 5, right? So you're applying for your next 5. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so like we had the first year that this program was in place, there was nobody here because of COVID. And so we've really only been here 4 years, not even 4 years yet. And so, we made a ton of progress in 4 years, which I'm very proud of our program. But we are lucky to have another, 5 to 10 years, hopefully. So I'm glad the grant did come out.
Cool. Thank you.
So we already talked about May 14th and May 16th. The 518 will be coming into the schools, grades 6 to 12. So at 8 a.m. on May 16th, the 518 will be at the junior high school, 7th and 8th, grades 7th and 8th. And then from 9:30 to 10:45, they'll be at Chestnut Hill Community School with the 6th graders only. And then from 12:45 to 2, I believe, the schedule's out there. I don't have it in front of me. They'll be at the high school. And so Jake will have 2 hours in between. So, he'll be floating around here and there.
Yeah, we're covering that. Which ones did we cover? Or are we covering? He said we have permission to tape.
Yes. It's up to
Should we
you.
do the high school since it's got like the best setting for
Yeah, I
this?
think the high school would be the best if we could do it there.
12:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I say I'm covering, obviously Peg is
Yeah.
included in that, so.
Yeah, so should we let Chris know about that then?
What?
That BCTV is gonna come in and cover that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get permission from Chris
Okay.
first, and then if Chris doesn't give us permission,
I can do it so that none of the kids are ever on camera, as long as we're just focusing on the.
yeah. Yeah.
If that's an issue or concern.
Okay. So I'll,
This year, yeah, we're up in school district this year, so
what's that?
we're up in this year for photographs and videography, so yeah,
Wow.
probably better if we don't have kids' faces.
Okay.
Have what?
Don't have kids' faces.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, I don't know how do we do that then? You're gonna just tape him?
Well, I'm assuming he will be on stage
Yes.
at a podium speaking,
He's wicked interactive with the crowd too.
but if he gets into the crowd, then I'm doomed, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Find out and then let us know.
Okay. And then May 17th, Umbrella Wellness. This is going to be an insane day. I'm going to tell you, as of today, we have 66 organizations hosting tables. I anticipate it's going to get up to 70. We have a couple maybes in there. 70, we have 66. Our biggest event or tabling, like tables that we had, I think was like 53, and that was the second year. We had about 48 last year. This year it's up that high. It's going to be in the gymnasium. We do need volunteers to help set up. So if any of our sector representatives or anybody in here is not tabling that day, we would really like some help at like 9:30 in the morning to help just get things in place and set up.
Is that Chestnut?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer, let me know.
I'll be there.
All right, thank you. All right.
Chris, are we bringing our own tables?
Yes, I did ask people to bring their own tables. If you have a situation where you need one and you can't get a hold of one, let us know, because we are ordering extra tables for people that have requested them.
And we have an 8-foot section. Is that basically what we'll have?
Yeah, so yeah,
Or
it
6?
is going to be, the way that the gym is going to be set up is it's a square, so we'll have all around the perimeter are going to be like a big thing of tape, and then in the middle there's going to be back to back. They'll be back to back facing out, and so my idea was to section it off, but we decided that in our committee yesterday that there'll be volunteers. As people come in, you need to register at the table at the entrance. And I've sent this out to our to the tabling people, that when you come, there's going to be a sign that says organization tabling with an arrow pointing to the back door of the gym. We're going to have a registration table there. You're going to pick up your bag. Each person that is there is going to pick up a bag. It has an envelope in it with a token that's worth $10 at any of the food trucks, and 3 raffle tickets for any of our 50 plus raffles that we get. As you come in, people are going to be setting up as they come in, staggered as they come in, because we do know that people have different size tables. So we felt like if it was sectioned off, we just might be losing some space. So we will have volunteers helping people. It's not going to be a free for all, like, oh, just go set up wherever you want. We're gonna have rows and have people helping
And
set up.
I was asking that more, that you want it to limit it to 1 table per vendor, not 2 8-foot tables or
Yeah, I mean,
2
1 table
6-foot tables.
would
Okay.
be preferable.
Yeah.
However, if you have pertinent information and resources that you want to give out that you need another table, certainly, we don't want to limit people either. And so like with the gym, we do know that there's probably going to be overflow. So we're going to overflow it out into the hall that goes down to the auditorium. So we do have, like I said, we have 66 organizations tabling so far. What a great opportunity for people to connect with other organizations. I mean, this is such a great time for people to connect with each other too. Right now, as of today, I'm not going to say only, we have 35 prizes as of today. Aline and I will be going out next week to kind of clean that up and get more. We have some new prizes this year too, which is really cool because they're family-oriented packs. Like we have 4 tickets to basketball, UMass basketball game. We have 4 tickets to the Thunderbirds, plus a swag bag for the Thunderbirds, like a kid's hockey jersey, magnets. We have 4 tickets to the Woo Sox in Worcester. We have 4 tickets to the Basketball Hall of Fame. We have 4 tickets to the Forest Park Zoo. We have 4 tickets to the Old Sturbridge Village. These things are all new this year, and we wanted to do that and reach out to these organizations because we want this to be a family-friendly thing too, and educational as well. So that's pretty cool. We do have the Barrows Family Pulling Team coming with a display, pulling for a cause, which is around suicide prevention and depression and reducing depression and anxiety. And Hidden in Plain Sight is scheduled to come from the Alex Fisher Foundation. We have a balloon maker, a face painter, and a henna tattoo maker coming. We have the mascot from the Thunderbirds coming, Boomer. We have the mascot from the Woo Sox coming. We have comfort dogs coming. It's going to be a pretty full day. We have 4 food trucks this year. Unfortunately, Rustic Fusion is not coming. They are so booked up with this year with events. So we do have Macklemore, we have Macklemore, Batch, and we do have Keeney Nutrition. And then we have Mackin Sliders. And I have asked each of the food trucks to have at least some items on their menu that are $10 so that people can use their token for. At 2:15 this year at the fair, we are shutting down the gymnasium and the tabling. It is your prerogative, tables, it's their prerogative if they want to stay for the speaker or leave. However, people must be present for the raffle if they want their prizes. So, we figured this way that because it's been kind of confusing in the past, should we go to the speaker? Should we stay at our tables? No, this year, 2:15, we're making an announcement. We're shutting the gym down. We will have a volunteer staying in the gym to make, just be present to watch people's stuff if they want to leave it there at their tables, your resources and stuff. If you want to clean it up, that's up to you. But we will have somebody in the gymnasium. We're going to funnel everybody into the auditorium for 2:30 to 3:30 for Vive 18's presentation. At 3:30, we'll be doing the raffle prize announcements in the auditorium. So it's going to be, pretty straightforward and scheduled this year, how we do things. And tables will be told, these have already been told these things. Any questions about the Umbrella Wellness so far?
Chris, who did you say the presenter was again?
It's Vive 18, VIV 18. And the flyer that we have sent out has the QR code on the bottom that people can click on and see what he's all about.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right. Farmers markets, we will be doing a sign-up sheet next meeting. Just be aware that they did reach out to us, and we get to do farmers markets this summer every other weekend. So we're pretty happy about that because this fall we only were able to do it once, just the way that the farmers market was set up. So we're happy to be able to be out there. And also in July, the Cultural Council invited us to Food Truck Friday to do like an activity event with kids. So we're going to come up with a youth activities for the kids on that day too. So we have a lot of things coming up this summer too. We're getting ready for Aaron's race in June. We have Relay for Life craft beer coming up in June. Just a lot of things. All right.
You have a date on Aaron's race?
What's that?
I have a date on Aaron's race?
June 14th. And then the Relay for Life one is the weekend before, June 7th. Yeah. All right. Any opioid settlement fund committee updates? There's nobody here but me. So I do know that We've had a couple presenters come that are like social workers from other police departments. We had East Hampton and Ludlow just talk about what their services are in their town, and they aren't counselors, social work counselors. They're social workers where they reach out to the community and offer support services to people and connect with people in the community. So like we are looking at doing that and maybe getting somebody in place, not just in Belchertown, but in other communities. But we haven't figured out that yet, and we're just kind of talking about it and figuring out how this person would be paid, because it wouldn't just be from Belchertown; it would be from other funding from other towns as well. So we need to figure out the crossover of that. We do know that Honest Beginnings does have some items on that they have that they're going to bring forward to apply for that will support in our community. And then I just did talk about drug-free communities going forward in our next meeting. So we are going to be meeting coming up on that. Nothing else is going on with that right now. Public health updates. Andrea's not here. I do know, I know everything that's going on.
I am here.
Oh, Andrea,
You know,
yay!
I came late. I was like 15 minutes late.
Yay! I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so public health updates.
You want me to talk about where?
Yeah.
Well, just an update for the district, I guess, when it comes to like tobacco control regulations. Where is having continued discussion with updating their current tobacco sales regulations. We have 2 board members that were not involved in their original revision, and they have some personal concerns with things being too strict and more strict than the state. So they wanted to revisit them and really kind of pick them apart. Right, like as far as nicotine-free generation, that's not going to happen and where. None of the board members are interested in that. And then the other newer thing or newer policy for tobacco sales regulations is the oral nicotine pouches, which they're looking into. I visited all the establishments to see what they were selling and what the strengths were, what the flavors, so-called flavors were. It's interesting because one brand has unflavored, and then they have chill and fresh and cool, and it's like, okay, well, if one is unflavored, then what's the difference? They're supposed to be all unflavored. But so I got that data for them because they do have the option to limit the milligrams or to restrict them to adult-only retailers, or not regulate them and just allow them to be sold regardless. So that's what they're discussing this tonight at their board meeting at 6 p.m. is just continued discussion, specifically in regards to the oral nicotine pouches, and then we'll finalize the draft regulation and have that as a public hearing next month. So far, the only thing that has been removed from the original regulation is the policy for minimum pricing for single cigars that are typically sold for 99 cents. They're very cheap tobacco products. And the minimum pricing for those that are in packages of 2 or more. So 2 out of 3 board members felt that was something they did not want to include in the tobacco regulations, even though it's an evidence-based policy that shows that regulating the minimum pricing for these very cheap nicotine products deters youth from purchasing and hence reduces sales that are made. And even, armed with that information, 2 of my board members did not want to regulate them. So, and then in Pelham, we currently don't have any tobacco retailers, but they do support nicotine-free generation. So the Pelham Board of Health is working on a draft regulation. It's all based on the state model regulation from DPH. And it comes with a list of like 19 policy decisions that the board members vote on to either include in the tobacco regulations or not include. So like nicotine-free generation is one policy, the minimum pricing for cigars is another policy, for example, that they can incorporate to be more strict than the state. So in Pelham, even though they don't have any, they decided to not keep Pelham tobacco free. So in the future, if tobacco retailers did want to sell their products in town, they're all on board with that and they're okay with capping it at 3. I have to look into the zoning, but there's really not a lot of places in Pelham a retailer could set up shop, but one of those places is right near the school, the elementary school. And one of the policy decisions is they can regulate the minimum distance that a new retailer can go near a school. It can be a distance of 500 feet or 1,000, and they did not want to regulate the distance. So if a retailer wants to go right next to the elementary school, they're fine with that. So there was a lot of policy decisions that they decided not to include. So they were not receptive to having additional education and listening to the evidence and the data. They kind of had their minds made up on what they wanted and what they did not want. And so the next thing for Pelham is going to be a public hearing, which, I'm going to be visiting the elementary school next week and seeing if I can talk to somebody on the school committee and try to get some parents, to attend the public hearing, because this is really going to affect the youth. I mean, I don't really see the chances of a tobacco vendor coming into Pelham anytime in the future is very, very slim. But in the chance that somebody does want to open up shop, Pelham will not have regulations that are the most protective for their community and for the youth of the community. And that's what's more concerning for me, is decisions being made, ignoring the evidence-based policies and just making decisions based on what, personal bias and personal opinions, which seems to be the case with some of these boards. And that's not what Board of Health members should be doing, unfortunately. But it does happen. That's politics.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Andrea. Like with the flavored wraps, those hemp wraps, like I know we've discussed this several times. Is that, like, we banned those, so is that a state? Is that
Yes,
a
it's
state?
state. That's state law. So wraps, even if they're not made with tobacco, like they're hemp wraps, for example. So a wrap that's made with like tobacco or tobacco leaf is a blunt wrap, and that is a policy decision that local boards of health can ban, which Belchertown and Ware do have that policy. Pelham, for instance, did not want to ban blunt wraps. But
that's not a state reg, though.
the state, for flavored tobacco products, it includes flavored tobacco product enhancers, and a wrap that is flavored enhances the tobacco when it's added to it.
Okay.
So it cannot be flavored.
Yeah, and I'm
just
asking because, like, I come through Ludlow every day, and there's a couple stores that are in Ludlow that those flavored wraps are all on the back shelf, and that's why I was wondering if it was a state law or not.
It is.
Okay.
There's a lot of obvious flavors like pineapple, mango.
Oh yeah. They were all up there, and
flavors.
I kind of got assaulted yesterday from a store owner in Ludlow, because I stopped there in the morning on the way through to get something to drink or whatever, and so I know them, and yesterday when I went in there, the owner started, I stopped in on the way home, which I never do, but the owner was there, and he just said, he's like, what is going on? He started like talking to me about Ludlow's policies and what they're trying to do. And I'm like, hey, I'm not a part of that. And but he wanted to know why about the pouches, the nicotine pouches. So I ended up educating him for like 15 minutes about the dangers and risks of nicotine pouches, what it's equivalent to. But like, it's kind of interesting to me because I feel like a lot it's missed, like that educational opportunity with our retailers is missed sometimes. I'm not saying in Belchertown, because I think we do a great job in Belchertown with that. But when we're doing regulations and changes and stuff, I've seen like in Ludlow, for example, they didn't really educate them around all the risks and dangers of it. They just said, oh, we're going to ban it. And so I think it's really important that we keep that piece of it. Get the facts. I mean, just say, it goes back to, oh, just say no, this is your brain on drugs, here's an egg. It doesn't work. Like if we're not told the facts and the education around it. But I just wanted to make that comment, that, this is happening everywhere in other towns that it's being brought into other towns, Board of Health as well. So we're not out of line in doing these things, because I think a lot of towns are on the same page with us.
Yeah.
Questions?
The retailers also, if they have questions, they really should be asking them. In my experience, a lot of them don't ask questions. They're, we give them data, we give them, the regulations, or we'll give them information pertaining to, like, say, the manufacturer letters. If they're not going to read them,
right,
we don't have time to, like, say we have 50 vendors, we can't spoon feed all 50 what this means and what that means. We can give them the regulations and give them some backup documents, but it's their responsibility to read, to understand, and ask questions if they have questions. Especially because it's not just the Board of Health that regulates these products, it's the state, the Department of Revenue. So they also need to understand those regulations and about the taxing and what they need to do. So I think sometimes they play dumb and they act like they don't know, and we weren't told. But I hear it all the time, not just from that, but from even like doing food establishment inspections. It's very common.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you for all you do. All right, prevention, DFC, we already talked about a lot of our stuff. I am going to be doing a medication and cannabis safe storage coming up with Kirsten Krieger. We have collaborated in the past, and we're going to continue to do that in the spring and the summer. And then I am going to, I'm going to have Kim Lee. I'm going to have Kim Lee talk a little bit about Mira Vista. Kim, are you there? She might be off camera. When she comes back, I'll have her talk about that. Kim has invited me to do a podcast for Mira Vista and Holyoke at some point, just to talk about boat and what we do around prevention and all. And then we are going to be doing coming with BCTV, and I can't remember the date is on that, but we had set it. Yeah, we set that date up. And
May
Kim and I
21st.
Oh, there you are. Where is it? May 21st?
May 21st. Yep.
Yeah. So May 21st, Kim and I will be at 24th. We'll be at BCTV that day, and we're going to work together to devise some questions for our interviewer. And then Kim did invite me out to do a podcast as well. So Aline is our community engagement coordinator. I'm going to bring her with me for that as well. So that'll be really cool. I mean, we just keep expanding. We keep expanding. We keep growing. We keep building our capacity. So we're pretty happy about that. I'm going to wait to come back to you, Kim, when we get to partner updates. So let's see. One more thing I do have for DFC. We have mid-year coming up. Mid-year CACA forum. We do have money to bring people, or any sector representatives that want to come. Jay, do you want to give it another shot? I know this past year at National Forum, we were really disappointed, just because a bunch of the workshops that I personally went to, and Jay, I do know they were canceled because CDC was not allowed to be there and blah, blah, blah. So we're hoping that this isn't going to be the case in mid-year. But we are going to be going to Nashville, Tennessee. I believe Angela is going to be coming along with us as our new co-chair, which is really great. But we definitely have another spot for somebody else. So we could even, expand it out. Kathy, if you were interested in doing something like that, we would certainly love to have you come. I don't know if you've been yet. Is
I
Kathy?
have been. Kathy Me is in for Dart.
Yeah, in mid-year.
I have been. What about, do you have a school social worker or counselor that could go?
We have invited school in the past, and what our answer is, they're off in the summer.
I've been.
And I know our sector representative for the schools has been Deb Keefe, who's here right now. So we could certainly reach out and ask them again. I think that would be the most appropriate. Unfortunately, that's the feedback that we get back.
Right.
We did invite our guidance counselor from Jabish, who was planning on coming to CACA leadership forum in February, but couldn't make it. So it's kind of, we're hard pressed to have schools people go in the summertime because of that vacation thing.
Yeah.
But we want to put it out there to people that are very involved with us to go if they want to go. So
Do you have a parent?
we our parent sector representative may come for a couple of days, but we already reached out to him and he may be tied up.
Okay.
So that
I'll think some
all
more
of our
about it.
sector representatives are involved. Every single one of our 12 sector representatives is actively involved, and that is really unique for our coalition.
It's very unique.
Yeah, so we are
Great.
lucky with that. Like I said, over the 4 years that we've been here, we just keep building and building and building, and we are lucky. We're fortunate to have such a committed community around this. But those great suggestions. Shoot me anything else if you have anything.
Sure.
Kathy, do you have any DART updates for us?
I do actually.
All right.
Wait a minute, it just scrolled away on me. Hold on. I have, fresh off the press, I have Belchertown data from our case from SIMS, which is a critical incident management system that overdoses and at-risk referrals and behavioral health incidences are reported into through the police department. So I have for Belchertown for 2024, there were 42 incidences for the year, and those were for overdoses, at-risk referrals, or behavioral health incidences. And it's a decrease by 9% from 2023. There were 6 non-fatal reports for Belchertown in 2024. There were 17 in 2023. There were 2 fatal overdoses in 2023, and there were 0 in 2024. Now, I just want to remind you, this report is just for the critical incident management system. So when DPH comes out, it may be a little different, just because if they're unsure if it was a fatal overdose, it doesn't get determined until after autopsy, and that comes from DPH. But anyways, but it was just really great news. So you had, for non-fatal overdoses, you had a 65% decrease over the 2023 year for 2024. And your fatals was 100% decrease. We did have, but I take this with a grain of salt. It was a 64% increase in at-risk referrals in 2024, but actually, in some respects, you need to look at that as that the police department and the work that they're doing is that they're actually addressing issues before there's ever an overdose or a major incident. So in some respects that's a good thing, because it means that we're working it on the preventive side, not necessarily in the after work, which is really cool. Um, so, and again, our behavioral health events has increased, but I can tell you that we're seeing that across the state. That's not unusual for Belchertown. Um, and your co-responders working those events.
Yeah, that's great news, and I have been looking at the statistics around that too, and this is going to be good to kind of
Yep.
input in my report as well.
Yep.
For the Drug Free Communities grant, as far as like what we've been successful on. So
Yep.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah, hot off the press. I just got it this morning.
We're happy for that.
Yeah.
All right.
So let me know if you need any other data that we might have for you for your report.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Recovery. I did talk about our recovery. Anything for Sue up there? I did talk about our mindfulness meditation program coming, but any other updates from you, Sue?
Yes, we're really looking forward to that here at the Recovery Center of Hope. The only thing I have is I have to admit I'm not very prepared today. I totally lost track of time. We are having a spring fling this Friday from 4 to 6. It's family friendly. It's make your own Sundays, and we're having Easter egg hunts for the kids. So it should be a fun time.
Sue, do you have a flyer for that, or is it in your calendar? The Recovery Center of Hope calendar.
It's on Facebook, you mean?
Yeah. Do you guys have a flyer that you put out?
There should be
for
one
that?
up there on Facebook. There should be one.
All right.
If not, I can shoot you one today.
Yeah, could you do that? Because we always like to advertise everything that you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And do
I
you
will do
guys
that.
need our flyer for the Umbrella Wellness by chance?
I don't remember seeing it. And
Yeah, it's
I'm writing
attached.
down. What's that?
It's attached to the invite from the date that I sent to everybody.
Okay.
It's attached, but I'll send it to you today, Sue.
Yeah, if
anyway.
you could do that, that would be good. And that's all I have for today.
All right, that's great. Awesome. All right, and harm reduction, any updates? Okay. And last but not least, partner updates. Kim, do you want to share a little bit about your program? Can't hear you.
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, and hello, everybody. I have already been introduced. I'm Kim Lee, and I am representing both Mira Vista as well as Terra Vista Behavioral Health Centers. But with Mira Vista located right here in Holyoke and Terra Vista out in Devens, I'm going to focus just this morning on Terra Vista. And I apologize that I was on a phone call just a minute ago, but it's timely because when somebody reaches out and they're ready to start their journey, whether it's for substance use or mental health, when they're ready, we have to be ready. And that call was from an individual in our community who was experiencing mental health crisis as well as substance use disorder. And so I had to do have a quick conversation with her, but we do have a bed. And she will be coming in to us for noon time today. So it's a very timely example because I want to be sure that everybody on the call, especially first responders, individuals from the school system, understand that Mira Vista now has a direct admission process. So for those of you who are familiar with Mira Vista, or those of you who are not, I'll just take 15 minutes to give a brief overview of who we are as an organization and then talk a little bit about direct admissions. So Mira Vista is what once was Providence Behavioral Health. We are on Main Street in Holyoke. Individuals will know Providence all the time. I'm out in the community. It's usually one of three reasons. They ate here because back in the day, Providence opened up its cafeteria to the public. Two, they were born here. or 3, their families used to bring them out to see the giant Christmas tree on top of the building during the holidays. But that's what once was Providence is now Mira Vista. So we purchased Providence from the Trinity Health System back in 2021. We provide both inpatient psychiatric treatment as well as outpatient substance use programming. Our inpatient mental health is for young people between the ages of 13 and 17, 18 if they're attending high school. So we have 16 beds that have been set aside for adolescents, and we have 72 beds or 4 adult units for individuals who are 18 and older, not attending high school, to receive the treatment that they need here for their behavioral health. We are typically full every day, but census also changes every day. So it's very rare that anybody would have to wait more than 12 hours to obtain a bed here at Mira Vista. As I mentioned, our direct admission process, which was the example that I just shared, is something that we launched back almost a year ago in July, and it was in response to the Executive Office of Health and Human Services Behavioral Health Roadmap. So with the advent of the Community Behavioral Health Centers, or the CBHCs, there really is no longer a need to send anybody to the emergency department before they access inpatient level of care at standalone psychiatric hospitals such as Mira Vista. So if you're working in the community, if you are a guidance counselor, a teacher, a school nurse, you represent a health and human service agency, and you're working with an individual who is going to require an inpatient level of care, their first stop no longer needs to be the emergency department. And I'm happy to talk with anybody in more detail about that. My email should be among those of the attendees for today, but I can also send out a quick email with my email as well in case anybody would like to learn more about it. But direct admission has been a game changer, especially for young people, in terms of their quick and barrier-free access to getting the mental health that they need, because who wants to send a young person down to the emergency department where they'll board for however long until a bed is found? And why add that cost? There's the cost of the stay, there's the copay, there's the EMS that's involved in terms of transporting. So we are really working very hard to cascade that message out to the community that direct admissions are available here at Mira Vista. So I'm going to just shift a little bit over to talk about our substance use. And actually, you may be wondering why I have a license plate on the front of my shirt. Well, today at 11, and thank you both. Yes, thank you both for coming out today. We're really, really excited. So Cheryl Dware is a mom from Marlborough who lost both of her sons, Sean and Corey, to overdose. And she made a promise to her younger son that she would work very, very hard because of his addiction prior to his overdose, that she would work very, very hard on awareness and promoting information so that individuals could recover, get the help that they need, and to help prevent overdose from happening. So she took on the Herculean effort of organizing all the work that goes into having plates for overdose awareness available in the state of Massachusetts. So together with her new nonprofit, Team Share, she did it. She was able to secure the 750 pre-orders that are required in order for the state of Massachusetts to actually issue a license plate promoting overdose awareness. So I don't know if you can see my shirt or not, but the license plate has a small purple ribbon, and every plate that's sold, a portion of those proceeds will go to support her nonprofit, which is all about overdose prevention and support for families who have lost a child or a loved one to overdose. So she's coming in today at 11 o'clock, and we are presenting her with our Admiration Award for all of the work that she did. So we're excited the boat will be represented, and we're very happy for our new partnership. And quickly, just in terms of our outpatient substance use, we are the longest and most established opioid treatment program in Western Massachusetts. So we have staff, nurses, medical directors who have been with us for decades. We are dosing upwards of 450 individuals every day. And we recently launched same day walk in access. And I think for law enforcement and for emergency responders, this is very important because if you're working with an individual who says, I'm ready, I'm ready to get clean, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I want to get help, our opioid treatment program has walk-in same-day access. So people can literally come to the front door of Mira Vista. You can ask for Kim, you can ask for the MAC clinic, and we may not be able to dose that individual that very day, but we'll be able to get them in our system. We'll be able to go through the entire enrollment and admission process so that they can come back the next day in order to be dosed. And we provide free transportation within a 25-mile radius. So if you're in the community and you're working with somebody, we'll be able to go out within that 25-mile radius. We have an unbranded SUV that travels all over Hampden County. We'll be able to go out, pick them up, and then bring them into Mira Vista. People are also getting access now to take-home bottles much sooner than they were in the past. So individuals, when they start with us in our opioid treatment program, will automatically receive 1 bottle per Sunday. And then within a 6 to 7 day time period, they'll receive upwards of 14 bottles, which will then go to 28 days. So within a 2-week period, they'll have a month of their medication, which won't require them to come in every day to dose. So for individuals who are working or who have childcare issues or kiddos to get on the bus, they don't have to worry about coming in every day. And that transportation has been extremely helpful in terms of removing barriers for people who want to get the treatment to start their pathway to recovery. We have an intensive outpatient program which runs Monday through Friday. If you are a morning person and you want to come to IOP, we have morning programming. If you're not a morning person and you prefer to sleep it a little bit, we do have afternoon programming as well. And we're providing free transportation to that intensive outpatient program as well. So those programs run 5 days a week, and individuals choose 3 days. So they can come Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they can come Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but they decide what's going to work best for them and their schedules.
Awesome. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you so much for your information. And we'll see you out there today.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to email all the attendees now with my email. And I am going to hop off because I have to get ready for 11 o'clock, but I'll see you both in a little while.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Kim.
Bye-bye.
Any other partner updates at all? Or Angela, do you have anything at all from like MVP 2.0 or anything like that? Any follow-up?
No, we decided on a project and it's not actually able to be funded. So we are regrouping to have another meeting to decide what we are going to actually do. And then I will have more to report next time.
All right. So that's great. I guess we're done. So anyone want to vote to adjourn?
I think there's a typo on the
Where's that?
next meeting.
Oh, April.
Oh.
Right? Is that May 21st?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And did anyone get to look at the notes from the last couple meetings? Do you approve of the minutes?
Yeah, we have to have the approval. So.
Oh, approve.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
All right. Great. All right, we're going to close the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.